Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
If people only knew. All today's guests, including Craig Button, standing by in Italy. Brought to you by the Vancouver Canadians. Seas at home tonight. Tomorrow, they take on Eugene. Both games, 7:05. Tomorrow, post-game fireworks. Check out the full schedule and get your tickets at canadiansbaseball.com or call 604-872-5232. The NHL free agency period opening yesterday. Here to talk about that and more. TSN and the draft as well. TSN scouting director Craig Button, who I understand is in Milan. Is that right, Craig?
That is absolutely correct, Donnie. I'm here for the Bruce Springsteen concert on July 3rd, which will happen in about 24 hours time from now. And it's his last show on this tour. I love Springsteen. I've never seen him in Europe, so I said I'm going. And so flew out last night from Toronto. Took the train from Rome up to Milan, and here we are, ready to go.
Are you one of these people? And
There's
I've got
my number. There's my number. See my number. So that's we're going to be in the pit. So you got to register. So hopefully we get the right numbers.
Well, Craig, are you one of these people that? And I've got friends like this who have seen Bruce Springsteen 5 million times.
I'm not in that category, but I've seen him quite a bit. And you got to keep in mind, Donnie, we're old. Like Rick's a young guy.
I'm
like
not.
You and me are a little bit older. Yeah, you are, Rick. You're young. But Donnie and I are a little bit older. So Springsteen's been around since the mid-'70s or even a little bit earlier. So we've had a lot of opportunity to see him over the years in a lot of different albums, a lot of different tours. So, even though you see him lots, we're talking 50 years now.
So some kind of fan base there. Hey, you mentioned being in Toronto yesterday. How emotional was that yesterday? Saying goodbye to Bob McKenzie as he retires.
Yeah, I think that Bob said goodbye to a country, Donnie. I mean, you think about what Bob did. I mean, Bob was always the calming voice for a country when things may not have been going well for a Team Canada at the Olympics or a World Junior team at the World Junior. And he always had that calming sense about him. And what I see with Bob, and Bob's wonderful. He's great. He's a dear friend. But he's content. I don't see somebody that's got regrets. I think that when you can go out on your own terms and on your own timeline, and the last 5 years, and he hasn't been. I mean, you call what Bob McKenzie does part time. It's not really part time, Donnie, because you can't be part time in that job. But he wasn't doing as much, and I think that really eased him into saying it's time. But I mean, what a wonderful, and I thought he nailed it. I thought when he said it's about the people, and let's not forget, we talk about hockey, the fans in our country love it, and we try to provide perspective and thoughts and whatever we have. And, when you talk about Bob, you're talking about somebody that's irreplaceable, and certainly we'll feel it at TSN, but the country will feel it too.
Absolutely. What did you think of the Canucks' work in the last few days? Besser, Garland, Demko, all extended. What did you think of bringing those key guys back, Craig?
Okay, so I'm going to get into the three players in just a quick second, Rick. But you know what pleased me the most? Because I'm so sick and tired of hearing how, the American players don't want to play in Canada. American players are always looking. And I'm going, wait a second here. Besser resigns, Donner extends, Demko extends. Really? 3 American guys. Brock Besser loves playing in Vancouver. Obviously, Demko loves playing there. So does Connor Garland. So I think that is, let's just dispel with that stupid narrative. That's number one. Number two, I think it's really nice, tidy. It's not tidy work. I think it's important work that Patrick Allvin and the Vancouver Canucks were able to execute. I mean, we know when Thatcher Demko's healthy, he's a top-notch goalie. A 3-year term, I think it's good. I think it's a really good term for Thatcher Demko. Connor Garland at $6 million. I mean, he's wired to win. And Brock Besser, I don't know where you find these guys. And when you realize what you have is sometimes when you don't have it anymore. And I think for the Vancouver Canucks, they took that step back. They evaluate and they go, wait a second here. We got good players. Where are we going to go find players that are commensurate in ability and commensurate with dollars? And I think it was just really strong work by the Vancouver Canucks. And, coming on the heels of them winning in the American Hockey League with Abbotsford, I think that it's really positive now for the entire Canucks organization.
Craig, Cameron Schmidt drops to the third round. What the heck is going on? Is it just simply the fact he's 5'8"? Craig, I mean, the bottom line, it has to be that.
It is, and then there's no question about it, Rick. I mean, the guy's a dynamo. You know what I think about him. I know what you guys think about him. But, people want to look at a tape measure and they go, oh, he's 5'8". Oh, my God. He's got skills that are right up there with the very best players in this draft. And, if I know Cameron, and I think having watched him for the number of years I've watched him and really like him as a guy, I think that he will find his way to the NHL, and sometime here in the next few years, how did the Dallas Stars get Cameron Schmidt in the third round? That's what how did the Tampa Bay Lightning get Braden Point in the third round? How did Kucherov go late in the second round? We all know the answer. We all know the answer, and this is going to be the answer again with Cameron Schmidt. But good for the Dallas Stars, who don't get caught up in that type of thing. We know what they did drafting Logan Stankoven and how he turned out, and obviously he signs a long-term contract in Carolina. And I believe that what Cameron Schmidt brings to the game, not just in skill but in competitive spirit, he'll be an NHL player, and teams will be regretting passing him by.
Craig, over 200 players drafted, only 30 under 6 feet tall. There's a CHL draft today. Some kid was 7 feet tall. He went in the draft today. You scouts love size. You know that, Craig.
I'm not caught up in size, Rick. Don't you can say that the scouts tap into it and everything, and I get it, right? I don't know if I've ever said this on the show or to you guys, but I think one of the dumbest comments I ever hear in any type of draft analysis: you can't teach size.
Yeah.
You're not looking at you're looking at everything being with respect to their skills, what translates to the NHL, skating, puck handling, the ability to think the game and process it at high rates of speed. That's what it's about. Now, everything being equal, you're going to take the bigger player over the smaller player. Here's the truth. Rarely is everything equal. So you better not start overlooking a guy that it might not be as tall as somebody that's bigger. I'll tell you a story. Brendan Morrow, we drafted in the first round in Dallas. And we had a couple of teams that we knew we were interested in. I think we drafted them 26 or 27, somewhere in there. Anyway, we had a couple of teams come up to us that we knew liked them, or so-called liked them. They said, yeah, he's not a bad player. Yeah, but 5'11", and we would just laugh. We would literally laugh and just go, okay, you just and I'm not going to mention. You go back and look through the draft, and you can see the failures that teams had, and you can see that they didn't come close to drafting a good player because they got caught up on the size. That's what happens, Rick. Yep. And here's the thing, too, Rick, is that teams don't learn. Teams don't learn. How can you continue to be so stupid?
Yeah. Okay, Craig, before we let you go, and this is our last hit for the summer, and we'll get around to thank you for your work, but the great Alex Delvecchio leaves us at the age of 93. What do you remember about him? 38th all-time in NHL points.
Yeah, I was lucky. My dad took me to the old Olympia, and Alex Delvecchio was playing. And, I'm going to say I was about 8 or 9 years old. But I remember, there's certain memories you start to have as a young player. Mm-hmm. Gordie Howe had retired, and Alex was playing, and I mean, he had come into Pittsburgh to play, and so you watch this guy. What I remember is the guys with no helmets and gray hair, and how well coiffed they were as they came and played the game. I was always amazed about what do you mean how their hair was? But and you just remember somebody that Detroit. Alex Delvecchio was the elegance of the Detroit Red Wings. Beliveau was the elegance of the Montreal Canadiens. That's what I recall about Marcel Pronovost, who I knew really, really well and played with Alex in Detroit. And to hear those guys talk about those players, I mean, I just used to sit there in silence. I know that people find that hard to believe that I could be silent, but I was. To just hear those people talk about it, and I lived in Michigan, and I got taken into the Red Wings alumni room, met Alex Delvecchio a number of times. And so even though it was a young person's memories of him playing, those memories are still strong. But everything to hear from his teammates, and then after the fact to meet him in the Red Wings alumni room, really special.
Yeah, number 10, retired by the Red Wings, a longtime captain, was a coach, a GM. And Craig, I'll just say one thing. It's funny you mentioned that. I remember watching him as a kid. Same thing. The hair perfectly coiffed. One word for you: Brill cream.
Yeah, but why didn't they all have Brill cream commercials? I mean, we all know that Maurice Rocket Richard did the gray hair one, right?
Yeah,
Why didn't do the Brill cream?
Yeah. Okay, well, with that in mind, Craig, I'll say this as we say goodbye to you for the summer. 2 minutes for looking so good, Craig.
Yeah.
There we go. Grecian formula maybe on the gray now, Donnie.
Yeah, there's 3 people out there who got that. Craig, again, thanks for your work all summer with us, all winter for us. We can't thank you enough.
Well, I really appreciate you guys. It's always a joy and a pleasure. I always look forward to Tuesdays. Today's Wednesday after Canada Day. Just always something. You talk about people that are really good at their jobs. That's you two guys, and you guys are all class, just like Alex Delvecchio.
Enjoy the boss. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.